The Sirens' song Hollywood was built on dreams, but for every success story told, a dozen darker tales were buried under the glimmering surface. For Lena Parker, an ambitious singer-songwriter fresh from Michigan, those shadows were mere whispers of a distant reality. All she saw was the golden promise of fame. Lena arrived in Hollywood with nothing but a suitcase and a notebook filled with lyrics. She had talent, no doubt about it, a voice raw with emotion, a knack for melodies that lingered long after the song ended. But talent was cheap in Hollywood. Connections were priceless. Her big break came at an open mic night in a smoky club on Sunset Boulevard. A man in a tailored suit approached her after her set, his smile wide and his business card embossed with gold letters. Elias Crow, A&R Executive, Siren Records. "Lena," he said, "you've got something special. Let me help you show the world." The Siren Records deal. Siren Records was an enigmatic name in the industry. Founded decades ago, its roster boasted some of the biggest names in music, artists who skyrocketed to fame almost overnight. Lena had heard the rumors: odd contracts, reclusive stars, sudden disappearances. But when you're struggling to pay rent, superstition takes a back seat to opportunity. Lena signed the contract without hesitation. Elias led her to a sprawling studio hidden in the Hollywood Hills. Unlike the polished modern studios she'd seen in magazines, this one had an almost ancient feel. The walls were covered in dark wood panels, the floors in crimson rugs, and the air was thick with a strange metallic tang. "This studio has seen legends," Elias said. "Let's make you one of them." The first recording. The moment Lena stepped into the recording booth, she felt it. The air inside was heavy, almost suffocating. A single microphone stood in the center, its surface tarnished with age. "Sing," Elias urged from the control room. Lena began to sing one of her songs, a soulful ballad she'd written about longing and heartbreak. As the first notes left her lips, she felt a pull, an almost physical sensation, as if something inside her was being drawn out. When she finished, the silence in the booth was deafening. She looked to Elias, expecting praise or feedback, but he was staring at her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. "That," he said finally, "was perfect." Lena couldn't shake the strange feeling, but when the track was released 2 weeks later, all doubts vanished. Her single exploded, topping charts and earning her invites to exclusive parties and interviews. For the first time in her life, she was someone. The shadows of fame. But success came with its own price. Lena began to notice strange things. At night, when she listened to her song on repeat, she could hear faint whispers beneath her voice, low, mournful murmurs that sent shivers down her spine. Fans sent her messages claiming the track had a haunting quality, that it felt as though her soul was singing directly to them. Then there were the dreams. Night after night, she found herself back in the studio, standing in the booth. But this time, she wasn't alone. Shadows moved in the corners of the room, indistinct figures with hollow eyes and mouths that opened in silent screams. One night, Lena woke to find her throat burning, her voice hoarse despite not having sung that day. When she looked in the mirror, her reflection seemed delayed, her lips moving a fraction of a second after she spoke. The revelation. Desperate for answers, Lena decided to confront Elias. She went to Siren Records late at night, sneaking past security and making her way to his office. There, she found files on every artist signed to the label. Many were names she recognized, stars who had burned brightly before vanishing from the public eye. Each file contained the same cryptic notes: energy depleted, soul extracted, archived. In a locked drawer, Lena found a reel-to-reel tape labeled with her own name. Trembling, she played it on the ancient recorder in the corner of the office. Her voice poured out, singing her hit single, but layered beneath it were the same whispers she'd heard before. As the track progressed, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They weren't random. They were voices, crying out in agony, begging for release. "What are you doing, Lena?" She spun around to see Elias standing in the doorway, his smile gone, his eyes dark and unrecognizable. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said, stepping closer. "But now that you have, let me explain." Elias revealed the horrifying truth. Siren Records didn't just produce music, it harvested souls. Every song recorded in their studio carried a piece of the artist's essence, their life force imprinted onto the track. That energy was what made the music so powerful, so addictive. And when an artist's soul was fully depleted, they disappeared. Their existence erased to make room for the next star. "You should be proud," Elias said, his voice chillingly calm. "Your song will live forever, even if you don't." The escape. Lena ran, but the studio seemed to twist and shift around her, trapping her in an endless maze of hallways. The whispers grew louder, and she realized they were coming from the walls themselves. Finally, she found herself back in the recording booth. The door slammed shut behind her, and Elias's voice crackled through the intercom. "This is where it ends, Lena. You signed the contract. You knew what you were giving up." As the room darkened, Lena screamed, her voice piercing through the suffocating silence. But instead of fading, her scream seemed to shatter something. The shadows in the room coalesced, rising against Elias, their anguished cries filling the air. The last thing Lena saw before she blacked out was Elias being dragged into the darkness, his screams joining the chorus. The aftermath, Lena woke up on a bus back to Michigan, her memories of what happened fragmented and surreal. She swore off music, burning her notebook and smashing her guitar. But her song remained. It continued to play on the radio, haunting listeners with its otherworldly beauty. And somewhere in Hollywood, Siren Records quietly signed another bright-eyed artist, ready to give their all for a chance at fame. The cycle never ended.